over the past few months, a lot of students have asked me questions through various social media channels. Questions like how to become a software engineer, how to get a remote job, how to get started with your career, where to learn from, what to learn, things like that. So students are not even aware if they want to do web development or if they want to do uh, things like DevOps or any other things that are related in the software engineering field, right? So my friend Kunal Kushwaha invited me to a Twitter space to speak about my experiences as a software engineer without a degree. That's right. So I am a software engineer without a degree. So I spoke about a lot of things. I spoke about how I got started, the challenges that I faced, and if it's even worth to get a degree, right? So after that Twitter space was concluded, a lot of students, then started asking me how I managed it all without having a degree and became successful, somewhat successful, despite all odds against me over the years. So my DMs were flooded with these kinds of questions, and soon I realized my time to start a YouTube channel has finally come. Something I wanted to do since back in the school days with my friends, but never actually found time to do that. So all these questions made me realize that I was not the only one facing these issues, and that there are many more people out there in the same situation. One way or the other, they're in the same situation, where I once was. And in this YouTube channel, I want to address all those questions and guide you to your career goals. So that is the main objective. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Apoorv Goyal, and I'm a remote software engineer as well as a startup enthusiast with a rich experience of over 4 years. And this experience has come in multiple domains of software engineering. To give a little background about myself, I completed my high school about 5 years ago in the 2016-17 batch, and post that I dropped out of college in my first year, very first semester, due to some financial issues back in the day. So I was pursuing BCA, by the way, if anyone is curious. So most of my experience in multiple domains of software development and business too has come from my heavy exposure to startups in different industries. So industries such as fintech and edutech and even e-commerce have been my forte. Right. Apart from that, I've also done a lot of freelancing. Worked on large-scale products on contractual basis, either through freelancing or some contacts, some networks that I have. Now, if you ask me why I'm creating this YouTube channel, the answer is simple, right? Being someone who made it without a degree in computer science, I believe I can add a lot of value, in guiding you to your career goals. Um I believe I can fasten up the process a little bit and make sure you're progressing in the right path, right? And I also want to inspire people like me. So if let's say I talk about me, I am someone personally who has seen a lot, right? So back in the high school, my mom took a gold loan so that I could complete my high school education, and then post that, I was in a lot of pressure, seeing how I cannot afford a degree, and m- like I needed to start earning right away. The main reason being is that since my family was already in pressure, that okay, how is they already took a lot of loans for my high school, and they were already in this pressure how I am going to pursue my college education. I had the same thing in the back of my mind. So before even giving my 12th board exam, I somewhat had this clarity in my mind that I'm not going to pursue a college degree. And back in the day, the people that I had, my peers, my classmates, they didn't used to believe me when I used to say this, that I wouldn't take a college degree. But here I am, right? So I mean, that's there, and since it was there in the back of my mind, I still remember that I enrolled for a lot of entrance exams for different universities. There were different entrance exams. JEE Mains was one of them, and I enrolled for it. I left my home. Uh, saying that I'm gonna give those exams, but I never made it to the center. Why? Because I was just stalling from time, because I was in clear intention that this is not something that I want to do. And the reason why I used to leave home and not actually go sit in those centers was that my family was somewhat against this decision. They I mean, at the end of the day, they they don't know anyone who has succeeded without a degree, at least not in India, right? So this is something that is not seen as frequently as we uh, might think. And in India especially, I mean, with the culture that the companies has said that college degree is very important, and all these things, I mean, they being from the previous generation, they don't understand if how things works in today's time, when internet is everything, right? So that was it. And back in the day, I mean, I just knew that I cannot let them take another loan for my college education. So I was even considering to join call centers to help aid my family in the time of need. But I kind of had that fire within me to do something in life. And once, I mean, that fire took over me, I started paving my own path. I repaid all the loans. I mean, 1 year or 1.5 years down the line, once I started doing my own thing, I repaid all the loans my family took, and I started living a good life. And I mean, currently I'm the sole earner of my family. I pay my brother's school fees and I pay the rent, and yeah, I mean, that's there. So I know a lot of students who reached out to me facing similar issues, and too much. I mean, most of the issues were revolving around too much financial pressure on the family, too much pressure on them to perform and start earning, and I mean, the general thing that I usually say is that if I can do it without a degree, and if let's say you're in a similar position where you're overwhelmed with all these things, you can do it too, right? So that is the general thing I want to help bring this thing forward. And I also want to help the student community understand the importance of building passive incomes. So it's not like you're making money from just one place, but actually you should strive to make money from various channels, right? So if you look at it, let's say that you have 3 to 4 different streams of income, and each of these roughly make you about 50 to 60,000 rupees in a month, and the most time that you devote in each one of them is like about 10 to 12 hours in a week. So that easily translates to about 2.5 lakhs rupees a month, right? Now, one more thing that I want to do is so one thing that has helped me throughout my career, the reason why interviewers have never asked me about my college degree or qualification education is because I had a strong portfolio. Building a strong portfolio goes a long way in building your career, right? And I want to help with that. So to do that, I will be starting a boot camp on web development, and I will be teaching everything from scratch, right? So this will not just include the front end and the back end, but will also include some other elements of web development, such as database management. If you have PostgreSQL or SQL databases or NoSQL databases, how to manage them, how to use them in different tech stacks, integrate them, and things like that. So that is something that we'll be doing apart from front end and back end, the usual. And will be testing, I mean, I will be specifically covering the testing of an application, how you actually test an application, how you perform the unit test, how you perform the integration test, how you perform the automation test and functional tests, right? So how the tests are performed is something I want to cover. And I mean, being able to perform these tests is in itself a very big, automating this entire testing of the application is in itself a big skill, right? Most of the in my experience, the most of the software engineering jobs that I've seen, remote jobs and all these, they ask for this, right? At least in web development. I'm not sure about the other domains, because I've not actually tried working there. But in web development, test driven development is something which is very important if you want to have a high paying job, right? So test driven development, TDD, is something that we're going to cover. And apart from test driven development or all these things, we are also going to cover design patterns. So what design patterns to use for what kind of different problems. There are various design patterns out there. You might want to apply proxy design pattern for some problem statement that you've suddenly encountered in your application, that okay, I want to design my database in this way, but this doesn't looks like an elegant solution, so how am I going to do that, right? So having the knowledge of these design patterns is going to help you there to write efficient code, build efficient applications. And I also want to cover how to design the architecture of your entire application. How front end is going to interact with the back end, and what APIs are going to interact with the database, what tech stacks to use, what are the developers choice that needs to be the decisions that the developer needs to take while designing an application based on the pros and cons of different tech stacks, how you can come up with a tech stack that fits well for the application that you're building, things like that. And apart from that, finally we'll also be covering some of the build environments, different build environments, the testing environment, staging environment, production environment, and dev environment. And how these different environments are critical when big projects are when you're working on a big project, when you're working with a big company. How these different work environments are used, why they are important, how to set them up, what environment variables to use for them, so in different tech stacks. So that is all of it that we're going to cover. And apart from these different build environments, we're also going to cover how to deploy your application, so how you can actually deploy the application that you want, and make it available for the users to use. So it kind of comes into the DevOps field, how to integrate the CI/CD, the continuous integration, continuous deployment of your application, and hosted on a server, remote server, configure the DNS, and add the SSL certificate into it, and maybe pass some proxies using Nginx or something like that. So all of these we're gonna cover. Uh, Not sure in how much time because I'm not sure how much time it's gonna take to me to teach you all of this. But yeah, I mean in the long term, I see myself covering all of this, right? So we're gonna all cover all of this right from scratch, how you're gonna make your application reach to the user so that users can start using it from right from the development stage to the production stage. We're gonna cover that entire journey. And along with the boot camp, we would be building a lot of applications and products all from scratch in different tech stacks. And we'll cover a lot of advanced functionalities while building. So I mean I'm even considering to build functionalities for scheduling and queues, teach you all those advanced functionalities, how Redis is used, how Memcache is used, things like that. And some of the things that we sometimes feel overwhelmed about, that okay, how does Hotstar streams the uh, live cricket feed in a video that anyone can, that so many people watches, right? And how they are balancing their servers, how they are balancing the load. If let's say 10 million people are watching at the same time, then how that load is balanced among the servers. Let's say they have 20 servers, each of them managing 5 lakh users each, right? And how they're balancing this load is one thing, how you're scaling your application, if you're scaling it horizontally, if you're scaling it vertically. So all of these things are going to be there. And yeah, I mean it's going to be a complete package, right? And the bootcamp announcement and the roadmap will be out sometime in April. It's taking a little bit of time for me to build that. And we will start with the boot camp in April itself, right? So we'll start with the basic front end, the HTML, CSS bootstrap. Might sound, uh, something that is redundant. So many content is out there, but I want to teach it from scratch, right? So you have to bear with me there. And yeah, because I mean, see, I have certain style of teaching, and I I don't want your prior knowledge come in the way of okay, I know this, so I'm, because I have a certain style of teaching, right? I'm gonna cover certain concepts and use those certain concepts in the applications that we're gonna build together. So I mean this is very important. So I'm gonna start from scratch, not gonna assume anything here, but this, that. If I now talk about the types of videos I'm gonna post in this channel, so there's gonna be obviously the bootcamp related tech videos for learning, and then there would be some videos on startups and how you can set up your online businesses and grow them. So that is also gonna be there for passive incomes mostly, and I will also add videos on how to do freelancing, getting started with it, and how to get your first projects and generating passive income out of it, investing too little time into it and actually making a lot of money out of it, right? So that is also something that we're going to do. And there will also be some podcasts on hacks and tips for growth in all of these domains, so tech and startups and passive income and freelancing. There's going to be some podcasts which you can obviously listen um, to just gain more exposure, experience and knowledge, right? All of that's gonna be there, and maybe I'll talk about my journey in detail as well. It's quite an interesting journey, from being someone who couldn't even afford 3-4 thousand rupees of rent in a month to being someone who doesn't care anymore. So that's gonna be there, and then I would also share some tips on growth and mindset that you should have, and also some videos for tips on how to find and manage work, so that's also gonna be there. Now the most important question: who is this channel going to be for? So to answer that question, this channel is going to be for college as well as school students mostly. You guys are most welcome to ask questions and learn web dev with me. Ask as many questions as you want, and this channel is also going to be for college dropouts. And if let's say you're someone who is facing issues with your college, maybe your college environment is too bad just like mine was, or you're facing inevitable financial issues, and you have to act now, this channel is going to be for you. And if you're considering dropping out of college, I'll soon post a video of things to consider before taking that call, right? So if you're already a dropout, don't worry. I mean, you're gonna do just fine as long as you learn seriously and remain dedicated to your goals and dreams. So I was someone who was very dedicated to my goals. I was very dedicated to my dreams, and I had defined very fine lines. I mean, my first goal was that in the very first year when I was starting, right, I by the end of that year I wanted to make 1 lakh plus in a month, right? In a month, 1 lakh plus, and I'm talking about someone who doesn't have a college degree, and I'm talking about someone whose highest education qualification is 12th pass out with no prior experience, just a fresher, and his goal is to earn 1 lakh rupees a month by the end of 1 year from starting out, and I achieved it, right? So you need to be very sure on the goals that you want to have. You want to be very sure on the dreams that you want to have, and you want to learn as seriously as you can to achieve them. Because I mean, you cannot even imagine how much hard work I put in my initial days just to reach where I am today. And I wouldn't say that any less of this has would have made me be here where I am today. So I mean, I very frankly consider 2018 as the best year of my life, because I started out in the late 2017, in November to 2017, and by the end of November 2018 I was making more than a lakh in a month. So yeah, I mean, you need to be like very sure on the goals and dreams that you have. Define goals for yourself and work accordingly, right? Things are not easy, they're not gonna come on a silver platter for you. You don't have a degree, just have those goals, right? And work for them, work your ass off for them. Finally, if you're someone in the later stage of your career wanting to get into tech, but don't have a CS degree, I say that you shouldn't worry anymore. Right? So this channel is also going to be for you, and your experience in other domains may or may not be helpful. I wouldn't comment on that, because it varies from domains to domains. What domain you're from would totally depend on that. But consider this as a fresh start for yourself, and dedicate all your extra hours that you have learning with me to get started with tech, right? So that's all I can say. And with all that said, I think that this is the longest I've been in front of a camera speaking to the camera. Except for the virtual work related meetings that we have on Google Meet and Zoom. So It's time I let you guys carry on with your day-to-day tasks. And if you believe or feel this channel is going to help you in any way possible, you can subscribe to the channel to get updates on the videos I'll be posting. I'll try to remain regular. It's definitely not easy, as I had this channel in mind since the beginning of this year, and here I am, you know, over 2 months later. But I'll be posting one video every week, right? That is gonna be there. And if you guys have any questions or issues you would like me to address, or any suggestions on the kind of help you need, let me know in the comment section below. I'm definitely gonna cover all of these questions in one video or the other. But yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me on any of my social media channels. Just drop me a DM. If you're using Twitter, just write a tweet and tag me in it. If you're gonna write something in my comment section below, I'll make sure to reply to that. And yeah, I mean, I'll see you guys in the next video.